generations come through my school alone in Boston, and people say it goes in cycles. So maybe it'll be on the rise in the next few years, but it'll also depend highly on just this smartphone generation.
Consider that stolen, my friend.
The big thing I'm working on is the same thing I'm always working on, which is how to teach this stuff. I'm talking about teaching people how to defend themselves, how to work in a violent environment, which means that they have to be strong, and they have to be decisive, and they have to be infinitely adaptable. They have to be able to see clearly. And a lot of our traditional teaching paradigms hamper all of that. If you tell them what's going to happen, then they don't see what's actually happening in front of them. If you tell them, try to feed them these scripts of what they're supposed to do, you hamper their ability to adapt. And probably one of the most deadly things we do is when I see a student who actually knocks someone down and then looks to me to see if they did it right. That's bullshit. Okay, knocking someone down is feedback, and you should know that. So that's the thing I'm looking for, is how do you teach? And I keep coming back to continuously for years we've been trying to add things to this person, and I think it's about time that maybe we need to cut out all the stuff that's not true. And so that's one of the things I'm working on. For my personal practice, I'm working on my short power. It's okay, but I want to be able to be laying on my back and with less than 3 inches of movement reliably break ribs. That's where it's got to be. It's so the no legs, just a pure short power. And the play group, what we're tend to be working on lately is blindfolded 2-on-1 grappling, and that's fun.
Personally, what I'm working on at the minute is power generations within transitions. So the ability to kind of get one technique to flow into the next in a way where they don't hamper one another but add to one another. And then, as I work with that, again, same kind of thing, looking for ways in which I can develop good drills to help students kind of communicate that. So that's for me, that's a big thing. And I, like most of you said, I like to work in cycles. I like to train on something, okay, that's a mission for this kind of 6-month period or month or 2 months, whatever it happens to be. But a minute, that's it. Power generation within transitions. The other thing, which is kind of like an ongoing project, but it changes as to what fits within that project, is bringing it all together. So you've learned what you've learned from various diverse sources, and then it's getting it together in a way that kind of works for me on the one hand, and then echoing what Rory was saying, really, in putting it together in such a way that my students and those who work with me can make use of it too. I don't know if shortcut's the right word, but probably what you were saying is just getting rid of the rubbish. And I think a big part of that as well is getting back to that ideal of always measuring by effect. Something's right because it worked. It's not right because Master such and such says it's right, or it's not. It's always measuring by effect. But having said that, I want to be able to. That's the kind of the test at the end. But then it's working on, well, how do we get students to that point? So that's an ongoing process. Yeah.
The main thing I'm wrestling with right now is in teaching is showing people how to think on their feet, and what do you do when a technique starts going wrong? When it's not working, do you try and turn up the power and do it more, or where do you recognize, okay, time to try something else? Because fighting, there's this big thing about adrenal stress and it's so overwhelming. It's the juggernaut that you have no power and control. No. After the first 100 fights, you can really think very clearly in a fight. And quit grinning so much, Rory. You can be aware, but it's the but who's counting? The issue of showing people, for example, how to assess the degree of force necessary. Because you don't want to use your killer kung fu commando move on drunken Uncle Albert. And yet, if you go into a situation, an asocial violent situation, thinking, okay, this is social violence, I need to do this level of force, you're dead. He's going to put a knife in your gut. So how do you survive? How do you assess what level of force to use? And how do you assess what's the best motion from where you are? Because a lot of times I've seen people who they're trying to do a technique, it doesn't work, and they're going, what do I do, what do I do, what do I do? And it's like, there's a shot right there, and you're not seeing it. And I once was in Belgium, and this guy was talking, he says, well, I'd hoped you were going to show these dirty street fighting tricks. And it's like, look, this is not a matter of tricks, this is not a matter of techniques. You don't need to know to be trained by a master of some deadly biting art how to bite somebody's ear off. When the opportunity is there, you see it and it's appropriate, you do it. But when you realize, no, this isn't a good time to do that, right? I really, if I bite off Uncle Albert's ear, Aunt Bessie's going to be really pissed. So, how do you assess? How do you judge? And that's what I'm working on in teaching. Now, my own training is I'm really trying to refine effectiveness. My attitude is I don't care what level of force it is, it's going to be over in 3 moves. And basically, when I say that, people go, but their idea of a move is kind of like an old-fashioned cannonball. They're expecting one cannonball to do this. That's one move. I'm going to hit them with this one punch, this one kick. And it's like, learn to think like a shotgun. Because the shotgun is going to hit somebody with a lot of different forces. And there's all sorts of little twists and tweaks in that move. That it's not just, when this punch gets there, you're going to be in so much trouble. Here it comes, here it comes. Yep, here's my big cannonball. It's like by the time that cannonball gets there, by the time that one force gets there, this guy should be already screwed up. And it's taking all these things, one move that does many things and creates all sorts of physics in the guy and sets him up so when you do land that force, it's over. So that's what I'm working on now. It's just basically I'm getting older. I don't want to work as hard. So I want to hit it with as much as I can and as many different forces as possible in the shortest amount of time before he decides, hey, let's turn this into a contest of strength.
Beautiful. I've got a really, I think it's a refreshing little effervescent question. Yeah. And I kind of lay it out here because I think it's kind of insightful when somebody answers this question, but it's if you knew what it was going to be and you got to order it, what would your last meal be? There you go, Al. Okay, all right. Here.
No, that's easy. That's easy for me. The favourite food bar none is Marmite. Yeah, dead easy. Toast on Marmite. That would be it. Yeah, perfect. That would be it. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, my real. That would be it. Yeah. You either love it or you hate it, as I say, and I love it. Yeah. That'll be whole meal. Yeah.
All you can eat Thai food buffet.
Yeah, I was just going to say a really big meal to take a long time would be good. Obviously, as my fiance is with me, it would have to be a meal for two that we could share together. Yeah, sorry, I know that. So yeah, I'll man up now. Sorry. It would probably be a steak. To be honest, that's. If I'm going out for a meal, steak's going to be the one, and it's usually, if anyone should want to order me a steak in the future, so they know exactly what it is, it would be medium rare. So I don't like the blood, but equally, I still like it to have a little bit of flavour to it and not be totally torched. So yeah, that would probably be my meal, and then as many side trimmings as you can get for as cheap as possible. Yeah, that's mine. I think. Yeah.
At first, I thought this was a metaphorical question, but well, I don't know. I'm not a real big food connoisseur, so I really have no idea what would be an enjoyable last meal. It might very well be Pizza Hut. Or a Big Mac or a Whopper. I'm going down the tubes anyway, right?
I've had dozens and dozens of favorite meals, but it's